Um, okay, Virgo. So I need to say something to you, and I need to say it with a specific kind of energy. That is different from the energy of most messages because this message is not a warning. It is not a preparation for something difficult. It is not asking you to be brave or resilient or patient in the face of something hard. This message is asking you to do something that is perhaps even harder than all of those things. For the specific kind of person you are, it is asking you to let something wonderful happen to you without thinking it to death. Welcome. And try not to immediately start analyzing what I just said. Something is coming toward your life that is going to be so good, so genuinely and completely good that your first response to it is going to be something in the vicinity of disbelief, mixed with the particular kind of low-grade panic that arrives when something exceeds what we were prepared to handle. On the positive end of the spectrum, because we prepare for difficulty, that is what preparation is usually for. We build the resilience and the coping strategies and the frameworks for navigating hard things. We develop the emotional infrastructure for surviving what is difficult and what is painful and what does not go the way we hoped. We do not always build the same infrastructure for receiving what is wonderful. And so when something wonderful arrives in a size that exceeds what we were prepared for, the system does not always know how to handle it, and it does what systems do. When they encounter something they do not have a protocol for, it starts analyzing. I want to speak directly about the analyzing because it is the thing this message is most urgently warning you about. And I want to describe it specifically so you can recognize it when it starts and redirect before it takes over the experience of something that deserves to be experienced fully rather than thought about fully, while the experience of it passes largely unnoticed in the background of the thinking. The analyzing looks like this. Something amazing arrives, and within seconds or minutes, the mind starts running, not toward the amazing thing, but around it, asking questions that are designed not to help you understand the amazing thing, but to protect you from being too in it before you have confirmed from 17 different angles that it is safe to be fully in it. Questions like, is this real? Is this sustainable? What is the catch? When does this end? What am I going to have to pay for this later? Do I deserve this? Is there something I am not seeing that is going to make what seems amazing right now reveal itself as something much more complicated or less amazing? After the initial impression has worn off and the full reality has had time to show up, that is the analyzing, and it is going to arrive in the face of what is coming towards you with every good intention of protecting you from something that turns out to be less than amazing after you have already fully committed to it being amazing. The problem is that the analyzing is going to be wrong this time about what it is protecting you from, because what is coming toward you is actually amazing. Not almost amazing, not amazing with a catch. Not the kind of amazing that reveals itself as something else after the initial impression has been replaced by the full picture. Actually amazing in the full and complete form of something that is exactly what it appears to be. When it first arrives, and that continues to be what it appears to be as it settles into the ordinary texture of your life and becomes the new normal. That was not normal before, but that will eventually feel so natural that it is hard to remember what the previous normal felt like before this one replaced it. The analyzing does not know that yet because the analyzing has data from previous experiences where the initial impression of amazing was followed by something more complicated. That required the protection the analyzing was trying to provide in advance before the complication arrived. But the analyzing does not always update its model with new data as quickly as the new data arrives. And this is a moment when the model needs to be updated before the analyzing, based on the old model, runs its familiar process on something that does not fit the previous pattern and produces recommendations that are appropriate for the previous pattern, but not for this. I want to describe what is coming in the concrete terms that make it real, rather than in the vague terms of amazing that could mean anything, and therefore mean nothing specifically enough to actually prepare you for what is arriving. Something in your relational world is shifting in the direction of more presence, more honesty, more of the specific quality of connection that you have been hoping to feel in whatever connection this is about, or in a new connection that is forming or about to form in a way that exceeds what you were allowing yourself to expect, because the expectation management had set the ceiling lower than what is actually coming. Something in your material world is also shifting toward more ease, toward the specific relief of a constraint loosening that has been present long enough to start feeling permanent when it was always going to be temporary, just longer temporary than you would have chosen. If you had been in charge of the timing, and something in your sense of yourself is shifting toward the recognition that who you are is receiving the kind of response from the world that who you are deserves, rather than the undervalued response that you have sometimes received when the world around you was not fully seeing what you were bringing. All three of these are shifting simultaneously, which is why it is going to feel so amazing that it scares you a little when it fully arrives. I want to speak now about the scared part, because that is in the title too. And I think it deserves honest attention rather than being brushed past as the amusing consequence of something being so good that it produces an unexpected reaction. The scared is real, and it has a real reason behind it. That is not simple or silly, even though the title presents it lightly, with the laughing emoji, that suggests the scared is not serious. The scared is serious. It is the specific fear that comes when something good is large enough to also be something to lose. Small good things do not produce this fear because small good things, when they end or change or are taken away, leave a proportionate gap that is painful but manageable. Large good things, like what is coming toward you, produce the fear because the gap they would leave, if they were taken away, would be proportionate to their size. And the mind, which is always running risk assessments on the things we allow ourselves to want, calculates the potential loss of a large good thing and produces the scared as the signal that this matters enough to be afraid of losing. Let the scared be what it is, an acknowledgement of the size of what is arriving and how much it matters, rather than a signal to hold back from fully receiving it because of the potential loss that has not happened yet, and that the analyzing is already preparing for before the thing has even fully arrived. The laughing emoji is there for a reason, and I want to honor it because there is something genuinely a little funny about being scared of something wonderful when you look at it from the outside, and there is something genuinely human about it too. And the combination of those two things is worth acknowledging with the specific lightness that the laughing emoji is offering, rather than only with the seriousness that the scared deserves. You are going to be scared by how good this gets, and that is okay, and a little funny, and very human, and also not a reason to stop letting it be this good. Let me give you something practical for when the amazing starts arriving and the analyzing begins and the scared shows up, and the combination of all three threatens to produce the overanalysis that the title is warning you against. The first thing, notice when you are in your head about something good rather than in the experience of it. There is a specific quality to the difference between thinking about something and experiencing something, and you can learn to notice when you have crossed from one to the other without intending to, in the way that the analyzing often takes you out of the experience without announcing that it is doing so. When you notice you are in your head, come back to the experience, not by forcing the analysis to stop, but by redirecting attention back to what is actually happening right now, in the moment you are in, rather than in the hypothetical future moments that the analysis is already assessing. The second thing, when the scared arrives, name it out loud if that helps, or in the quiet of your own awareness. If that is more comfortable, name the scared as a signal of size rather than as a warning of danger. Say to yourself, this is scaring me because it matters, not this is scaring me because something is wrong The difference between those two framings produces a very different response to the scared, and therefore a very different experience of what is arriving. In the context of the scared and the third thing, give the analyzing a specific task rather than letting it run freely on whatever it finds to assess in the landscape of the amazing thing that is arriving. The specific task is this: notice what is actually good about what is arriving in concrete terms, rather than analyzing what might be wrong, or what might not last, or what the catch might be. Use the analytical mind to inventory the good, rather than to audit the risk, because the analytical mind is equally capable of both. And defaulting to risk auditing when something good arrives is a habit, not an inevitability. Give it the inventory task instead, and let it do what it is good at in service of the experience rather than in interference with it. It is going to get so amazing, it is going to scare you. And that is the most wonderful kind of problem to have after whatever season preceded this one. That made the amazing feel distant or unlikely or not quite available to someone in your specific circumstances. At this specific moment in your story, it was always available to you specifically in this specific moment, and it is arriving now in the form it was always going to take when it arrived, which is big enough to scare you and wonderful enough to be worth the scared many times over. Don't overanalyze, not because the analysis is wrong about everything, but because this specific situation does not need protecting from in the way the analysis is preparing to protect you. What this situation needs is your presence in it, your full and unmanaged presence in the experience of something that is actually as good as it appears. That is the rarest kind of thing, and it is yours right now. Whew. Let it be amazing, without the analysis getting in the way of the experience of it being amazing. You have earned the amazing. Now you just have to let yourself have it, which turns out to be, for many people, the harder part, but you can do it. I am certain of that. If you remember one thing from this message, the scared is the size of it, not the danger of it. Let it be big and let it be good. At the same time, without needing one. To cancel the other